Hi everybody, and welcome to this second tutorial which is introducing us to object-oriented programming, and we're using Java. Now, in part one of this tutorial series we discovered that we can create something like this. This creates a student object in computer memory, and it stores data about an individual student. It stores a string and 4 integers. Very convenient. And this is what it might look like in computer memory. Bill, this thing here, points to a student object which stores data, a string and 4 integers, and it also has methods which allow us to play with that data. We've got getTotal here, getScore, setScore. We might have one called getName. So this is what that might look like after we construct our student object. I can then do system.out.print hello bill.getName, and this method here will return the name of the object that this bill pointer is pointing to. Okay? Hello bill.getName. Hopefully that will return Bill. So this will print out hello Bill. Alright, in the last tutorial we were looking at this problem and thinking about it. How can we get the data that I'm assigning to this new student object, how can I get this data into the object so the object will store it forever and ever and ever and ever until I don't want it to store it anymore? Well, this is what we're going to look at in today's tutorial. So let's go to our development environment. I'm using Eclipse. I've already got a line of code here. Student bill equals new student with the 5 pieces of data that I want to send to the object. I want to send a string and 4 integers. And I want my new student object to store all that data forever and ever and ever until I either want to change it or delete it. But I've got a problem here. I've got a little red cross here. Multiple markers on this line. Student cannot be resolved to a type. Student cannot be resolved to a type? There is no data type student. Oh, I see. This kind of reminds me, by the way, of the string family of code. I could do this. There's a string. This is a string type, and I'm assigning it some data, Bill. This is the string type, and I don't get an error. So this data type has already been defined in Java. Someone else has written this code for me, and now I can use it for my own programs. This type has been defined. This type has been defined. The integer type. The integer data type has been defined. The string data type has been defined. The student data type has not been defined. Oh, that's the problem. Well, that's because I'm just making this up out of my own creative brain. Maybe nobody in the Java programming world has created student objects before. Why would I expect this to already be defined? My role as a computer programmer is to design new data types, and I need to create a student data type, which will allow me to construct student objects in computer memory. This is how to do it. I'm going to go to File, New, Class. When I think of class, I just think of family. I'm going to make a new family of data, and that family of data is called student. I'm not going to create a main method because I already have that here. I don't need to make another one. So I'm not going to tick that box. No, 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 no. And here we have it. Public class student. This is where I, as the computer programmer, am going to have to define what student objects are like and how they behave. Now we know that student objects store a string and 4 integers. These are the object variables: a name, an age, and 3 test scores. So let's do that right now. Object variables. And they are a string. I'm just going to call the first one, just call it name. And then I've got an integer called age, another integer called score1, another integer called score2, and my final object variable, which is an integer, score3. Brilliant. Ah, right, so these are these. Ah, and these are these. So this is already, this is the connection. I need to get these into here. Okay, so let's go back to my student class file. I'm going to create a method called student. And this method is going to work some magic for me. This method is going to be the same as this method. This is my student constructor method. In fact, let's make a note of that. This is my constructor method. And Java looks for this method when I construct a new student. Java comes into the student class file. This says go to the student class file and look for the student method. This is the constructor method. And it requires a string and 4 integers to work. This method requires a string and 4 integers. Well, let's give it a string and 4 integers. String, int, 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 int. Brilliant. Looks like I've got an error though. What's the error? Syntax error. I need to declare the variable properly, or I'm going to get an error. So variables, remember, need names. Let's just call it A. The first integer is B. The next integer is C. The next one is D. I don't know if this is going to work, but let's see if we can get rid of... Oh, the errors have disappeared. So I've got a string called A, an integer called B, an integer called C, an integer called D, and an integer called E coming into my constructor method. And I want, what do I want to do? I want those variables to be assigned to the object variables. Okay. Well, let's do it like this then. Let's say that name is going to be assigned this thing that I've called A. So name equals A, age equals B, score1 equals C, score2 equals D, and score3 equals E. Whoa! So that data that's coming from here, I'm taking that data, and within my family, I'm just calling it A, B, C, D, and E, just to keep it simple. And now I'm assigning it to the object variables. Brilliant. Now then, let's see if this works. Public, I'm going to make another method, by the way, get name. And this method, getName, is simply going to return the object variable name. Return name. I've got another error. Return type. Return type for the method is missing. the return type. Well, this is a string, isn't it? Name is a string. Ah, right, yeah. Here, I have to tell Java what the return type is. Public string getName. Brilliant. Notice that the constructor method is pretty special. It does not need a return type. You don't need it. But other methods require a return type, and getName is returning the object variable name, which I've got here. So when I construct a new student object, A, B, C, D, and E are simply messengers. They're helping me take this data and slapping it into the object variables. Brilliant. This method is simply returning a string, and the string that I'm returning is name. Let's make another method. Public int getAge. Let's call it getAge. Return age. Well, age is an integer, so the return type is int, and I'm returning age. Now let's go back to my student project. Here I've got Bill. Let's do that little line of code that I was looking at a minute ago. What was that line of code? System.out.print hello plus bill.getName. Let's do that. System.out.print ln hello space plus bill.getName plus exclamation mark. Brilliant. Wow. No errors, look. Hello bill.getName. Well, there's the getName method. I defined that method. I defined it. I designed it. I designed all of this. This is my idea. This is the student data type, which I'm creating this. I'm defining everything. Here are my object variables. This is what happens when I construct a new student. This is what happens. This helps me to look at the name variable here, this method, and this helps me look at the age. Let's just run this and see if it works. Hello, Bill! Brilliant! Can I do this? I'm just going to copy this and paste it here, and let's make one called Joe. Hello, Joe. So this is Joe. Joe's also 14. We'll just make up some silly test scores just to test this. Okay. And let's just say hello, Joe. Hello, Joe.getName. Remember, Joe is a student object, so it's part of the student family. And the student family can use these methods. One of them is getName. Brilliant. Let's run that and see if it works. Hello, Bill. Hello, Joe. Right then, I'm just going to very quickly, before I run out of time, make another really weird one. Public int getTotal. I'm going to make a method, which is a student family method, which returns the total score of the student. So it returns score 1 plus score 2 plus score 3. Brilliant. Why have I got an error? Public int. Have I done it wrong? Public int getTotal. Ah, it's a method, isn't it? Round brackets, please. Round brackets. Back to here. System.print Joe's total is plus Joe.getTotal. Exclamation mark. Let's see if that works. I'm just about to run out of time. Joe's total is 199. 77 plus 79 plus 43 equals 199. Have a go. See if you can construct or create, design your own student family.